Hello and welcome to a Fab Journey, the podcast. Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm the person who's going on that flesh and blood journey. And this is the first time I'm doing one of these sort of podcasty versions of my newsletter that generally should be coming out Mondays. So sorry for running late this week, but hey, when things are new, some of those things take a bit longer than you think. So yes, time to hit the big leagues. This is week 10. And the first time that my daughter and I would be entering a tournament where we would actually have to submit our deck lists ahead of time. Hence, what I mean by the big leagues. The tournament I'm talking about is, yes, the Store Championships qualifier over at the Card Merchant in Hamilton, where if you made top 8, you got the Terreo version of the Pallades red foil hero, and also a Pallades playmat as well, the Terreo art, or the artwork used for the Terreo version. So look, very cool. Thought, hey, let's go for that. But as you'll find out, that definitely didn't quite pan out that way. In the news this week, there were a couple of big bits of items of news. First off, we had the banned and restricted announcement for Living Legend, which in all honesty doesn't really impact me, as we never play Living Legend here. If you go into if you can go back, you can listen to the reaction of other people at the Gateway Games Armory that I attend down in Tauranga, as to their reaction to that news as well. We also had the fact that Blitz was going to be the headline format for season 13, and this was going to be its last hurrah, its final swan song, as before it got retired from being used in organized play. It could still be used at armory level, but won't be used above that. Essentially, Silver Age, or Sage, SAGEE, which has been shortened to, is replacing a Blitz in that space, which essentially is Blitz, but with only common and rare cards, I think, and also a fairly restricted list. So, but we'll get the exact news on that format in due course, because it hasn't quite come out yet. The main thing that impacts me is I've got to actually create a Blitz deck for Skirmish season 13, because I don't have a Blitz deck, and because we never play Blitz. The one time we did play Blitz was in season 12 of Skirmish, where we headed over to Hamilton. And if you go back and read about that, how our decks weren't legal, and people really helped us out at the end of it. Again, I did get the reaction of the people on the ground the Gateway Games Armory, and you can listen to that as well. That's already on the podcast or video, depending on however you're watching it, or you can go back and read it as well. Into the emptying the wallet section. Yes, how much I spend on the game. Look, we're 10 weeks in, so over 2 months now, and finally, I think we've got pretty much everything that we really kind of need. Is everything we want? No, let's be honest, but we've got some deck boxes, we've got playmats, we've got sleeves. What else have we got? We've got the token counter box. We've got all the kind of things we actually need, and also cards, obviously. So we don't actually have. So yeah, it's time to sort of cut back on that. Go back and read my first ones. You understand my first sort of posts. You'll understand that I'm very much at the budget, the social end of things. And I'll be honest, I've spent a lot more than I actually expected to on this. Still, 2 people playing at the Armory down in Tauranga, that was $12, and 2 people for the Store Champions qualifier over in Hamilton, that was another $80. So even on a day, even on a week when I'm not actually spending anything, we've still dropped $92 or nearly $100 on the game. So yeah, it's not the cheapest game in the world, is it? Let's be absolutely honest. So let's get on to playing now then, and we had the Armory down in Tauranga down on the Friday night at Gateway Games. Now it seems like an age ago now, so my memory of those games are perhaps not as good as it would normally be, because obviously 5 games at the Store Champions qualifier has kind of muddled the brain. But for us, this was a bit of a sort of tryout and a bit of a practice ahead of the Store Champions qualifier. My daughter had been lent a fully tuned Ira deck. She made a couple of changes to that for her personal taste, and I got given a bunch of cards to add into my Pallades deck for that. So running through the games, first up, I came up against Syndra. Now, this is the person who actually went 3-0 on the night and was the joint winner. I had some good combos. They didn't quite click. Also, it's perhaps a game that I learnt the kind of use or how important colossal bearing and be able to kill those flick knives was. It ended with me with them still on 9 life as I died. So close-ish, not too bad on that one. Next up was I was up against Gravy. Now look, let's be honest. The Pallades' plan against Gravy is to kill those allies, so they can't really hurt me, and occasionally put in big hits with good combos of auras. That's not how it went. Let's be honest. I got a big combo early on and took a big lead, and I thought, you know what? We'll just ignore those allies and we'll just smash him until he dies. It worked, luckily, but he did very much nearly come back and get me with those allies. So yes, a bit more nous, a bit more game head on that one would probably have been a bit clever. So I was on 3 life when I killed him off and got the win. It's a lot closer than it probably should have been. Let's be honest. Finally, I actually faced off against my daughter. Now, if you've been reading the other posts, you'll realise that I don't actually beat my daughter very often. In fact, the only times I've beaten her, I think, is Crack Shuffle play, and also when we did the Pallades versus Ira Armory decks. Where she got to play Pallades and I was on Ira at that time. So yes, unsurprisingly, she won that one. I got it down to 3 life, so it was another close one as well. I didn't have any defense reactions, and I was going sort of full aggro, which isn't really, let's be honest, Pallades or Guardian kind of general style. I do play very aggro Guardian style, so I was kind of relying on sort of disruptions and big hits. So I got to say, it got close again, but yeah, 1 win, 2 losses. And that probably should have been a bit of a wake-up call for me ahead of the Store Champions qualifier. But I was still dreaming. I was still thinking, top 8, we can do this. We've got these cool decks. The fact that I only won 1 game, perhaps I say, should have been a wake-up call, but it wasn't. Saturday, though, I did sort of start to get a little bit worried because a bunch of the people from Tauranga head over for the ProQuest that was being held on the Saturday ahead of the Store Champions qualifier on the Sunday. And one of the people who had won our Armory like 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks beforehand, he got 1 win out of 5. Another person who also had done well, had actually got to finals was in a final against that person in that Armory. They got 2 and 5, 2 out of 5. So clearly, this was going to be a much harder or higher level than I was really used to, and so definitely got a bit concerned. Now, if you want to listen to the full story, I have recorded the vlog of that trip, so do check that out. So just very quickly, running over those games. Initially, I played Bolton, a hero I've never played before. I know this person had done well in a Armory as part of the Auckland Calling event. So yes, they were new, but they know how to play. And I did feel that I was in trouble when they hit a combo and hit me with like something like 6 times with their swords for well over 20 damage. And I thought, geez, this is all over. It wasn't. I said when I actually calmed down and looked at what I could block and stuff, I could actually survive that. And then my big hits came into play, and I did win it. But I was down to 1 life. So yes, boy oh boy, a close one. But I got a win. Hey, this could be this top 8 could be on. Surely now, you never know. Yeah, right. Next up, I played someone who played Valda, and he actually went to the release event for Flesh and Blood, as in the very first release event, like 5 or so years ago, whatever it was. So clearly, someone who has lots of experience of playing this game. Taken a bit of time out recently, so wasn't quite so aware of what how Pallades plays, and yeah, definitely got him a bit worried with some of my big hits. I think that I managed to put in some good combos, but in the end, his dominate for 10 over and over again, round after round, which he managed to get towards the end, meant that he took that. But I got him down to 2 life, so again, real close game there with that one. Then came Syndra. Yeah, I don't like Syndra. I had the right kind of ideas of kind of like using be able to sort of get rid of flick knives, to also use the confidence one, which doesn't allow them to do attacks over 4 for their turn, or attacks over 3 anyway, either way. But look, I had the right ideas, but I just couldn't execute any of them. Yeah, I took a loss there. I say things are starting to nosedive at that point. Played Verdant. Look, he managed to get the 8 Earth cards into his manager zone, flip the card over, and at that point it was kind of game over on that one. But enjoyable game, but not one that I won. So now we're at 3-1. Top 8's out the question, obviously, at this point. And went in against someone from Rotorua who I kind of know, and for the Syndra. And look, I lost the die roll. He went first. I didn't go first. Up to this point, I think I've been go first pretty much every go. So I got to set things up before I actually started the attacks, which is kind of what I need. Look, my play style, clearly I'm not good enough at the moment with my play style to be able to survive those sort of things, and I don't get that. So I do need a lot of things to go my way. I've kind of a bit of a wake up that yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing in this, even if I am enjoying playing the game. So yeah, I'm too reliant on getting that dice roll correct at the beginning to go first. He went first, went sort of like 5 wide, and basically never let up, and just took the tempo. There were a couple of times where I had combos where I thought I could get the tempo back, but then I ended up having to break that combo with defending, or they would have an attack that or he would have an attack that would banish something from my arsenal or whatever. And yeah, I never got that. So my final record was 1-4. As I say, similar record to someone who had won an armory at our armory a couple of weeks ago. So nothing. I shouldn't be too upset by that one. There were national champions. There were people who I say have been playing Flesh and Blood since it started. So it was a stacked field from a kind of New Zealand point of view. So I shouldn't be too upset. My daughter went 2 and 3, and I think she actually was top of everyone from our local game store in Tauranga. So yeah, so she did really well in that. I know 2 and 3 doesn't sound too impressive, but I say amongst that field, pretty good going in that one. So really enjoyed the day. I did interview both the store owner, store manager, and also the winner of the event. So again, go check out the vlog to see those interviews. Onto the cardboard section. Now, look, we cracked obviously open a bunch of packs. We got a Super Slam pack and a Gem Pack 3 at the Armory, both of us, and we got 4 Super Slam packs as part of the store championship qualifier. Out of those 12 packs, so nothing memorable that I can remember, and I've got to take photos of the cards on Friday, so they aren't actually in the blog post like they normally are. The main side of cardboard this week really is the cards that we got lent. I got lent 3 cards of Encore, 2 Palms in Your Hand, 2 Thespian Charms, and 3 Imposing Visages to add to my deck. Funnily enough, the Thespian Charms, the ones that are only super rare, the most common out of all those cards, were the ones I probably actually used the most. Getting those cheers, getting those confidence tokens out there. Perhaps I need to look at my deck and think about how I can get some more cheers in there, because yeah, those confidence tokens can really help get those attacks through. I also got given an adult Velda, which is very cool. So now I can actually play her legally. At the moment, I must admit, I don't have a Velda deck here, because it got to a few pieces have been taken out for my Pallades deck. So, but I might have to go back and look at that and maybe switch between the two of them a little bit. But at the moment, I have been concentrating on Pallades. That was in the run up really to the Store Champions qualifier. So we'll see what we do. And then finally, we also both, so my daughter obviously got lent that Ira deck, which is cool, but we also got lent a couple of these. Yes, that's right, 2 spring tunics, so 1 each, which was extremely kind of the folks down there at in Tauranga. Really got to feel playing the tunic suddenly made me has woken me up to actually how good the tunic is and how useful it is to have that extra resource once every 3 turns. Now, you know what? If I just find that $500 I left lying around somewhere, and then maybe we can buy 2 of them. Actually, it's more than that. I think it's going to be sort of $550, maybe $600. But there's none for sale on. Maybe there's one. I don't think there's any for sale at all. Maybe there's one for sale on various websites in New Zealand. So even if I had the money, they're not easy to get hold of. To round things out, meta matters. On this one, look, it's over the last 2 weeks, I've been covering meta. I've been looking at the meta for our local armory. It has been a very varied meta, and that didn't change this week. We had 2 Gravies, 2 Iras, a Prism, Jarl, Florian, Marlin, Pallades, Lyeth, Syndra, and Oscillio. the Syndra and Prism were the joint winners on the night. So not surprised there. What probably is surprising is quite how many heroes changed. We lost Kasai, Riptide, Phi, Vincent, Bolton, KO. That's 6 decks disappeared. And then we had 4 decks coming in. The second Dara, Marlin coming back to replace Riptide, Evan deciding to go back there, and then Prism and Syndra. It shows that we've got 3 extra people coming in, 5 people who didn't turn up who did turn up the previous week. So we are getting consistently 12 to 14 players, which is good, but it's not the same 12 to 14 players, which just shows you that the pool of players is probably 20 plus for the area. That's got to be healthy and good to have different decks coming in each week. Also, people don't feel forced to have to turn up to make the event happen as well, which makes people can take a rest. They don't get burnt out as much. So I think that's good and for a healthy kind of community. So thank you for listening or watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, all of that wonderful stuff. If you would like to support me doing this financially, then you can head over to the Substack and subscribe there for $8 a month or $80 for the year. If you would like to help me out, that would be much appreciated. Obviously, at the moment, there is no content that is behind that paywall, but there is some content I'm thinking of for the future that may be behind a paywall just for those people who are supporting me financially as well. Clearly, the best way you can support me at the moment is like, sharing, subscribing, let other people know about it, and that'd be much appreciated as well. I'll be back next week with my weekly roundup like this that will cover, just like this week, I'll cover off on the news that impacts us here in New Zealand, emptying the wallet or looking at how much I spend, how I went in the events, probably just be an armory this week, look at what cardboard we managed to pull, or what cards, talk about cards, and also talk about the meta at the end there. So that's the weekly show, and look out, just I'm not sure yet if I'll have a special this week, but we'll also try and throw some specials in between as well. So thank you very much for listening, watching or reading, however you want to do it, and catch you all next week.